Well, welcome back to another Thoughts in the Woods while I'm wandering around aimlessly, trying my best to get lost. But unfortunately, there's a sun, and I know how to follow the sun. So I just, eventually if my wings burn because I've gotten too close to the sun, I'm gonna shut the fuck up. That's not here nor there. Today I want to think about starting a game convention or starting some sort of a gaming event. It's a lot of times not easy, and you should not get disappointed if things don't necessarily turn out your way or if things don't come together fast enough. You don't have to rush into it. And also, don't think you're gonna make money. Not for a long time. Like, game conventions, running game conventions, getting everything together, it can be a challenge. It can be a huge challenge, and this is my advice. So if you want to start your own game convention, you want to start a gaming event, don't break the bank, don't go into debt, don't make huge sacrifices to make your first ever annual event as big as possible. I suggest starting small. I think the smaller you have it, the more of like a core tiny audience of like hardcore gamers or hardcore members, attendees, whatever, is better, because you will remember the first like 50 people that come to your show that you put together more than you'll remember the first 500 to 1,000 people that are going to come to your event. Those first 50, you're going to always like bump into them, nod heads, and say like, oh, you guys, like, you were the first person to buy a badge our second year or first year or whatever. And those kind of connections are important. Those kind of connections and those relationships that you'll build with the hardcore fans, the first couple people that you'll see every year, are very important, because they're going to be like your most loyal people. They'll probably wind up becoming your staff later on. It's just how it works. Smell something. So, like for instance, there's two game conventions that I run. One is Lincoln in central Wisconsin. It's in Lincoln County, Wisconsin. And the other is EverCon, which takes place in Marathon County, Wisconsin, in the Wausau area. And EverCon is getting close to hitting 2,000 attendees. Since we've taken over, we've nearly doubled our attendance sizes. And Lincoln has remained pretty small. Our biggest ever attendance was just shy of 300. And it was so funny too, because that was kind of like the pinnacle. When I thought of 294 people, like, my God, like next year we'll hit 300. And then COVID happened. COVID was definitely a learning procedure. We still have never even gotten over 200 since the COVID years. So conventions and things like that have been on my mind a lot, because this week, October 4th, 5th, and 6th, is Lincoln 2024, which is our 14th annual event. And, there's always the excitement that goes into it, like, oh man, I wonder if a whole bunch of people are going to show up. I wonder if we're going to make a lot of money. I wonder if we're going to do whatever. But with that being said, 2019 was the only year we ever made a profit. It usually became something that I wouldn't say I went into major debt for, but it was something that I would spend a ton of money on the 2 to 3 months right leading up to it, and then hope I make that money back. That was the goal. If I could just make that money back in promotions, in signs, because we put signs up like yard signs and shit, any advertising we do, printing out pamphlets, printing out badges, you have to buy badges. Like, if we can make our money back on all that stuff, then we're good. Like, that's okay. And that worked for many, many years. But eventually you're going to get to a point where you're going to want to start to make money or make a potential profit or whatever. And so you're going to have to make some sort of a splash. So one thing I would say as like advice to someone trying to start their own convention is, any money you do make sure that you put back into the following year's convention or the following year's event. Because if you start just paying yourself to do whatever, and it's like, oh, we made $500, like, good, put that in a piggy bank, don't spend it. You want to have that $500 for next year, because if you spend it or you blow it or you keep it and you put it towards something you wanted to do or whatever outside of the convention, then next year you're going to be looking at like $400 or $500 worth of expenses. And we've tried a lot of things with Lincoln. We try to do special guests, hotels for people. It depends on the special guest. If it's really someone who's in high demand that people want to see, go for it, do those kind of things. But only do them if it's like a really good deal. Like, we found a lot of like game designers, artists, voice actors that literally will come for free all you need to do is pay them or have a hotel room for them, which can be pricey. If they want to come for a day, that's $200 for a hotel room, or, you know, around that area, $150 to $200. If they want to stay for a couple days, then it gets more expensive. So then you got to like think, is it going to be worth it? And so, you know, those kind of things are good for an event that gets over between 1,000 to 2,000 people, 2,000 attendees. Go for it. Bring in special guests, bring in those kind of things to help out with, you know, events and different variety of things for your attendees to do. Because the more people you have, the more events and more attendee type attractions you need to have. Special guests, special events, gaming events, different variety of types of games, all that stuff. So that's my thoughts initially. I learned a lot of hard lessons with LinkCon, being this is our 14th year. I tried a lot of things, maybe prematurely, bringing in guests that maybe were like good guests to have, but we didn't have the money yet because we didn't have the attendees numbers that we still don't have attendee numbers to bring in like real big special guests. But we still bring in a couple. One big one for LinkCon is Jeff Leeson, who used to be a TSR employee who runs a role-playing system. He does his own D&D first edition. It's based on an old compendium or campaign that never was finished in the old TSR books. So it's like, and he owns it. He owns it because he wrote it. So he runs people through it at LinkCon, and that's a blast. Like, that's super fun. Having really weird and obscure and relatively rare video game systems for your video game museum area is pretty cool. Between myself and McClar of the, oh Jesus Christ, that was a dead squirrel. I was like, what is he looking at? Between myself and McClar and the rest of the Wisconsin Computer Club, we pretty much have everything covered. So we try to find some pretty unique and obscure things, like lots of TurboGrafx, Neo Geo, some fun CDI just for the hell of it. You know, little things like that, that our attendees can be like, what is this? I never saw one of these before. Atari Jaguar, 3DO, you know, but along with all the regular common stuff, you gotta have GameCube, you gotta have Dreamcast, Super Nintendo, NES, Genesis, all the goodies. So that's my thoughts on that, I guess. So if you have any other questions or theories or ideas on how to start your own game convention, feel free to put it in the comments below. I guess I just rambled for 7 minutes. I honestly thought I'd be a little more concise and a little more, I don't know, organized in my thoughts on this, but I don't really think I really said much of anything. You can always message me here or tweet at me, which we still do on all the old social media platforms, Blue Sky, Threads, and Instagram. I am at _Joshua Turbo. Don't forget to get underscores, the most important underscore in all the internet. And I'll see you at LinkCon and or EverCon in the near future.